junior tight end from Napa, California. We all know about his phenomenal athleticism. He's got a 3.45 GPA in finance. I remind him constantly that's 5.05 right behind where I was as a finance major at Georgia. So it's the only thing I've been able to beat Brock at. But Brock is unique. He's easily the quietest, hardest worker I've ever been around. And it's such a joy to bring him today because see him squirm on that plane and be uncomfortable and think about having to talk to you guys. I'm so excited to see his growth he gets from visiting with you guys and getting to enjoy it. But I wanted to kind of share a quick story on Brock that I think epitomizes who he is. So our all-season conditioning program, we have these things called boxes. It's part of our program. We do run in boxes. You got to run down one side of the field, and then you jog across the end zone, and then you got to run, sprint the other side. So one day, I don't think these tight ends would claim for this to be true, but one day our younger tight ends had decided that they were going to finally get Brock. They were going to beat Brock on the boxes. So they took turns, which you're not supposed to do, running as fast as possible down the straightaway, the 100 yards you run down the straightaway. And they were going to eventually beat Brock because while one of them was sprinting, one of the others would be resting, and they had to try to beat Brock. Well, not only did Brock win every one of those races, he beat every single one of them turn by turn by turn while they rested and waited up, and they just couldn't beat the old vet. And it just shows his work ethic and how hard he competes at everything he does and does it with silence.
First off, I don't know last season, I don't know that. I know that he's such a special kid, okay? And I'm not trying to be broad there, okay? Here's what I mean by that. Any box you create, he checks it, okay? I mean, just from a kid standpoint, all right? The kid's the hardest worker I've ever met, okay? He'll be the first one to breakfast. He'll be the first one in the training room to get his ankles taped. He'll be the first one in the meeting room, okay? He'll be the last one to leave the field. If we do a 10-yard sprint, he'll be the first one to win the 10-yard sprint. If we do a 30-yard sprint, he'll be the first one to win the 30-yard sprint. You get the point I'm making, right? And I think that's what makes him special. Yeah, he's talented, right? He's got extreme talent. He can run, he can jump, he can catch. He's tough, okay? But what makes him special to me is just his competitiveness. He is the ultimate competitor. The kid don't want to lose in anything, okay? And to be honest with you, I need to see Oscar Delp get reps. Okay, I need to see Lawson Lucky and Pierce Sperling get reps. And when I take him off and limit some of his reps, he gets pissed off. He gets pissed off. Okay, I'm like, hey, Brock. He's like, what did I do wrong? Nothing, buddy. Just stand right here. It's okay. It's okay. And you know what? You should want it that way. Kids should be pissed off when they don't get their reps. Okay, that tells you that he wants to be great. So I'm just thankful for the opportunity that I get to coach him, man. He's such a great kid.
Yeah, how has coaching someone as special as Brock Bowers made you a better coach?
Yeah, I just try to find ways not to mess him up, I guess now, you know? Okay, and but he challenges me to find new ways to reach him, right? He challenges me to find new ways to continue to make him a better tight end, right? To continue to improve upon maybe little things in his game that could help him possibly on the next level. And so that is a challenge because he is good at a lot of things. And so continue to find maybe new individual drills or new ways to perfect his run game technique or his pass protection or even his route running technique can improve at times is that's a challenge. And but he does push me to become a better coach because of that. Okay. And the other thing is I got to find ways to get him to hush in the meeting. Y'all think he doesn't talk, but in the meeting he wants to answer every question. I'm like, hey buddy, hey, just let the freshman answer the question. I know that you know it, okay? But he is he's been a blessing to me as a coach. And the other thing is he set a precedent, right? He set a standard of how you should practice at tight end. He set a standard of how you should watch tape at tight end. Like the best thing for Oscar Delp was being here and seeing how Brock Bowers does it. The best thing for Lawson Lucky and Pierce Sperling is being here and seeing how Brock Bowers does it. So hopefully long after he's gone, the legacy that he's left stays for many years about how you're supposed to work, how you're supposed to approach each day, and how you become a pro, man, because that guy's a pro in everything that he does, and hopefully that leaves a lasting legacy. So there's very few things, right? But what Coach Smart challenges us to do is always look for NFL clips. These kids got the ultimate respect for guys that play in the NFL, right? So you constantly are trying to find clips from the NFL, maybe a Kelsey or a Kittle or the great tight ends, and you're looking at things that they do that are similar to what we do, that can show Brock, hey, maybe you at the top of your route, you can sink your hips a little bit more. You can rage out of your break a little bit faster to create a little bit more separation. That way, you don't have to make that superstar catch with a guy draped all over you. If you sink your hips and run your feet a little bit more like Travis Kelce, you'll be wide open. You'll have more space. You'll have more separation at the top of that route. So, that's the best thing that we do, to be honest with you, is try to find some clips from the NFL to show these guys, because that immediately grabs your attention when you put the logo of the Browns or the Chiefs or the Eagles or somebody like that up there on the screen. They're like, whoa, okay, that's how they do it? Boom. So that's probably the best thing that we do.
Well, number one, as a play caller, it's about players and not plays. That's number one. Your job as a play caller, if a guy's got a unique ability to make plays and plays that turn into explosive, we got to find do a good job as a staff of designing plays that get him touches. As far as of getting the best out of Brock Bowers, you're going to get the best out of Brock Bowers every single day. He is not a guy that needs to be motivated. He's locked in every meeting, every walkthrough. I've had the good fortune of sitting in a tight end meeting room last year and being able to see, how something. He's a guy that when Coach Harley would mention it one time, he got it. He did not need a lot of reps. He's extremely smart, and he's very humble. He reminds me a lot of a guy like Nick Chubb when I was here before, that just went and worked every single day. He tried to get better no matter what he had done the day before, the game before, the year before. He was constantly trying to improve in his craft. So. He's a joy to coach, and glad he's a Georgia Bulldog.
Michael.
Yeah, he's great. I love playing with Brock and everything. I'm just trying to be the next Oscar Delp. Obviously everyone wants to be like Brock Bowers and make the plays that he makes, and they're crazy. And it's great to have a guy like that in the room that can kind of mentor me and also just be one of my buddies that I just hang out with. But I'm just trying to focus on my game and just be the next Oscar Delp. It's huge. Having a guy like that in our room to kind of teach me and the younger guys and everyone else in that room it's huge. It's almost like having another coach in there. He's an awesome dude. He's one of my best friends on the team, and we're hanging out all the time. But just the way he approaches practice and meetings and walkthroughs and everything, it really puts everything in a different perspective, and I think it pushes everyone in the room a little bit more. Yeah, for first one, I think I kind of won that. I'm about 245 right now. I was probably 230 at the end of last year. And they didn't want Brock gain that much weight because they want him still to be pretty fast. And
that's a great question. His work ethic. He comes in this building every single day. Probably maybe the first guy in here. Breakfast, workout in the morning. It's like he is a work machine, and I feel like that's what separated him from everybody else in the nation, especially in the tight end room. All the tight ends in the room, because he done stacked his days up to get 1% better and better. Putting work in by himself. Does that make sense? Basically putting work in by himself. He's just a work machine. He's humble, he's a work machine, and he just do everything right. I call him Captain America. So.
He never complains, no matter how many reps he gets. No matter the situation, what he has in the play, he never complains about it, and he's always back for the next snap. Trying to think what I can beat him in. I'd say fishing. I can beat him in. He beats me in shooting. There's not a lot I can beat him consistently in.
Last year during fall camp, it's kind of where I guess I say I earned my stripes in covering Brock. It's not easy for anybody. But I'd say I really just tried to take the technique that I was getting coached, and I tried to apply it the best way I could. Because football doesn't change. High school, college, rec, football is still football. You're just playing at a faster pace with bigger people. And I wasn't scared to go out there and compete. And I go against the best people in the country every day. Whether it's Brock or Ladd or Rosemy or anybody. Dom, he came from Mizzou. I go against the best people every day. So just having that confidence, knowing if I can play with these people, I can play with anybody.
And then I feel like it motivated me a lot. I've been cool with Brock. We came in together. We used to hang out together all the time. I just know, in the game, I got somebody beside me who knows what he's doing. Somebody who's been through it for longer than I have. You know what I'm saying? He's been playing a lot longer than me. And just like I said, right now, we're just working on just building their relationship of just basically the calls, where the points are, and all that good stuff. And like all we can do is just like keep building on that relationship, just as we keep going forward, really.
Yeah, I think you would see that with Coach Hartley and Coach Bobo a lot. For me, it's not so much about just Brock, it's about our team and how can I provide that same service to every player on the team. I think if you ask Coach Hartley that question when he was up here, and he'll tell you the guy challenges him every day because you're trying to create ways to make him better. And he's certainly at his best for a long time and longer than most players can sustain. He's in really great shape and he's tough and he's competitive. And then our offensive staff is charged with finding ways to, be creative to use him that maybe the defense isn't used to. But for me personally, he's a guy on the team that leads by example. And if every player could take care of their body and work as hard as he did, we'd be in a phenomenal place.